Hey there, fellow gun owner. A huge shift is coming in November 2026 that could make buying a firearm way easier in some states. If your state is one of the 10 that currently require a permit to purchase, and those rules get banned or repealed, you might suddenly be able to walk into a store and buy without that extra government step. But if you miss this update, you could waste time, money, or even risk breaking the law without knowing it. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed? Because what I'm about to reveal could save you from a decade in prison. Hit that button now. Let me explain what a permit to purchase law really means in plain terms. It is not the same as getting a concealed carry permit. This is a separate approval you need before you can even buy a gun from a store or sometimes from a private seller. In states with these laws, you fill out extra paperwork, get fingerprinted, pay a fee, and wait for the state to approve you. The approval can take days or even weeks. During that wait, you cannot take the gun home. It adds a second layer on top of the quick federal background check that happens at the store. The goal, according to supporters, is to catch more red flags before a sale, but many gun owners see it as an unnecessary delay on their rights. First thing you need to know is which states have these rules right now. There are roughly a dozen, but here are the 10 main ones to watch. Number 1, California. Number 2, Connecticut. Number 3, Hawaii. Number 4, Illinois. Number 5, Maryland. Number 6, Massachusetts. Number 7, Minnesota. Number 8, New Jersey. Number 9, New York. Number 10, North Carolina. Is yours on the list? If yes, then the possible changes coming in November 2026 matter a lot to you. These states require the extra permit for at least some types of firearms, usually handguns and sometimes long guns too. Nebraska and Rhode Island have similar rules for certain purchases, but we are sticking to these 10 for now to keep things simple. Let me break this down for you with a real-world example. Imagine you live in Illinois and you spot the perfect rifle at your local shop. You pass the federal background check in minutes, but the store tells you to come back after you get your state permit. You fill out forms, get fingerprinted at the police station, and wait. That wait can feel like forever if you need the gun for protection or hunting season. Now, picture the same situation after a change in the law. If the permit requirement goes away, you pay, pass the federal check, and walk out the same day. That is the difference these laws make in daily life. But here's the crazy part. Most people think these permit rules are permanent and will never change. The truth is, they can shift with new votes or court cases. And November 2026 is election time in many places. Some states on that list could see ballot measures or new laws aimed at banning or repealing the permit requirement altogether. That would remove the extra step and make buying guns more like it is in the 40 other states, where you just do the federal check and go. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Even if the permit law disappears in your state, you still have to follow every other rule. You cannot buy if you are a prohibited person. That includes felons, people with domestic violence convictions, certain mental health issues, or anyone underage. The store still runs the federal check, which catches most of those cases. The state permit was just an added layer. Removing it would not open the door for criminals. It would simply speed things up for law-abiding folks like you. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this better. Say you're in New York, another state on the list. You want to buy a handgun for home defense. Right now you apply for the permit, wait for approval, and only then can you purchase. If the law changes in November 2026 to ban the permit requirement, you could skip that whole process. But if you do not check the update and still try to follow the old rules, you waste time. Or if the change does not happen and you skip the permit anyway, you could face fines or even jail time for buying without it. That is why knowing the exact rules in your state is so important. When I found this out, I could not believe how many gun owners do not realize their state is on that list. They assume every place is the same. But the truth is, these 10 states treat buying differently than the rest of the country. Have you ever wondered why some states make it harder than others? It comes down to local politics and views on safety versus rights. Supporters of the laws say the extra check saves lives. Critics say it is just government overreach since the federal check already exists. Do not make this mistake. Plenty of people ignore these updates until it is too late. They show up at the store ready to buy and get turned away because they skipped the permit. Or they move to a new state on the list and get surprised by the rules. Or they hear about a change after the fact and realize they could have bought easier months earlier. That frustration is avoidable if you stay informed. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video about the 5 words that protect you when cops ask about your gun. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Let me explain why this matters to your daily life. If you live in one of these 10 states and the permit rule gets banned, your next purchase could be faster and cheaper. No extra fee, no extra trip to the police station, no waiting period just for the permit. That freedom feels good, especially if you are buying for self-defense or sport. But if the law stays or even gets stricter, you need to plan ahead. Either way, ignorance is not an excuse if you end up on the wrong side of the rules. Here's what most people get wrong about these laws. They think the permit to purchase is the only background check. It is not. The federal one at the store is always required. The state permit is extra paperwork on top. Removing it would not remove all checks. It would just cut the red tape. That is the key point nobody talks about enough. In a real-world scenario, picture this. You are at a gun show and your state on the list. A private seller has a great deal. Under current rules, you might still need to go through a dealer for the permit process. If the law changes to ban the permit requirement, private sales could become simpler too in some cases. But you still have to follow transfer rules. Knowing the update ahead of time saves you from confusion or legal trouble. This is the part that shocked me. These 10 states have had their permit rules for years. They were passed at different times for different reasons. Now, with the November 2026 elections approaching, some voters and lawmakers are pushing to remove them. That could make those states more like constitutional carry states where buying is straightforward. The shift would affect millions of people who live there or plan to move there. But wait, there is something even more important. Changes do not happen overnight. Even if a repeal passes in November, it might take weeks or months to go into effect. You need to watch the exact date. Until then, the old rules stay in place. That is why I keep saying, check your state right now. Do not wait until after the election. Hey, 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be part of that group. Join the 50,000 gun owners who get these updates first. Click subscribe. To keep things simple, here is what you should do if your state is on the list. First, confirm the current rules on your state government website or by calling the State Police Firearms Unit. Second, follow reliable sources for election news in November 2026. Third, talk to your local gun shop about what they are hearing. They often know the latest before it hits the news. Fourth, if you're planning a purchase soon, do it under the current rules to stay safe. Here's what could happen if you do not know this. Suppose you live in Massachusetts, one of the 10. You buy a gun in December 2026 without the permit because you heard rumors of a change. If the change did not happen or took longer, you could get charged. On the flip side, if the change did happen and you still go through the old permit process, you just lose time. Either way, staying in the dark costs you. Most people think all gun laws are the same across America. But the truth is, these 10 states stand out with the extra permit step. That difference can mean the line between a legal purchase and a mistake. Consequence framing is simple. If you do not know the rules in your state, you risk fines, losing your gun, or even criminal charges. That is not worth it. Now this is where it gets interesting. Even states not on the list can be affected if friends or family live in one of the 10. You might help someone buy and need to know the rules, or you travel with guns and cross state lines. Knowing the permit status everywhere helps you avoid accidental violations. Let me give you another hypothetical example. You are driving through North Carolina on the list and stop at a store. You see a handgun you like. Under current law, you need the permit first. If that requirement gets banned after November 2026, your next trip could be different. But until the law actually changes, you follow the old rules. That is the safe way. This information could literally expire after January 2026. Subscribe now because the next video explains exactly what you need to do before that deadline hits. In the end, permit to purchase laws add an extra layer in those 10 states right now. Possible bans or repeals in November 2026 could remove that layer in some places and make buying simpler for responsible owners like you. The key takeaway is to check if your state is on the list, watch the November elections closely, and always verify the rules before any purchase. Knowledge keeps you legal and ready. Look, I spend hours researching this stuff, so you do not have to. The least you can do is hit subscribe to support the channel. Deal? Remember, this is educational information only and not legal advice. Laws change, and your specific situation might be different. Always talk to a qualified attorney or your local law enforcement for advice tailored to you. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video.